Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Let me ask y'all something. How many times have you seen a situation getting out of hand and thought, yeah, somebody just needs to go home? Because this right here, this is exactly what happens when nobody does. Some nights, you go out, you have fun, maybe a little attitude, a little side eye, that's it. And then there's those nights where one little argument turns into, I'm not letting that go. And then that turns into chasing somebody down. And then that turns into gunshots. And before you even realize what's happening, somebody is dead. And the crazy part, it's not even the person the situation was about. Because one bad night isn't about a lifetime of bad decisions. It's about that one moment where everything could have gone left, or it could have been completely avoided, and somebody chose wrong. Hey y'all, I'm Tiffany, and welcome to One Bad Night, where we break down how one night, one decision, and one moment of ego can turn into something you can never take back. And this story right here, this one is a perfect example of how fast things can spiral when people refuse to let stuff go. He wasn't even the target. Let me say that again. He wasn't even the target. But he's the one who didn't lose his life. Now, how do you go from leaving the club and then it turning into a full-blown shootout? Over what? Over your ego? Over your pride? And then somebody deciding they got something they need to prove? And see, this is why I always say some situations don't even need closure. You just need to go to hell home. Because what happened that night, it really didn't have to happen at all. But once it started, there was no taking it back. So it's May 3rd, it's 2006, Cincinnati, Ohio. So that's right on down the road. Not down the road, but it's about 4 hours away, but it's still in Ohio. So listen, by May, Ohio be ready to turn up, right? The weather supposed to be acting right, even though you still might catch a random snowflake. You never know in Ohio. We will get 4 seasons in one day. You just never know. But anyway, generally in May, folks is outside. And if y'all wasn't there 2006, 2007, child, it was a time to be had, okay? This is when Young Jock had stepped out in the scene where it's going down and you couldn't go nowhere without hearing that. And then T.I. was hot, and I mean his album King had just dropped. He did over 500,000 sales in the first week. This man was sitting at the top of the Billboard charts with What You Know. The movie ATL had just dropped. It was number 3 in the box office, right? Oh, a time was had. And everything is lining up for him. This is peak I'm that nigga energy. So let me tell you about what happened on this night. So T.I. and Young Jock, they had actually just got done performing at Bogart's over in Coreyville near the University of Cincinnati. The concert was lit. I'm sure the crowd was lit. The energy was crazy. And of course, what do you do after a show like that? You go to the after party. So now they're at the Ritz nightclub. It's late night, early morning, after 2 a.m. So let me paint the picture for you. They young, they got money, they lit, the music is loud, the liquor is flowing, everybody, feeling themselves. And you already know when rappers' money and attention come into the room, here come the groupies. And then also with the groupies, here come the niggas that think they belong. And now this part right here is where the problems be born at, because in the middle of all this, we got a man, his name is Jose Thomas. And Jose, he that nigga, but in his head though. The one still in the club at 30 plus. still thinking he can pull him a 21-year-old. Sir, go sit the fuck down. Now, listen, I'm not saying you can't be in a club at 30, but what I am saying is about 25, 26. I mean, I personally was over it, and I was just like, okay, it's time to migrate and find something else to do. Still outside, just not in the club. Like at that point, like I gotta work in the morning, my feet hurt, and I'm not about to sit here and argue over a section with nobody or somebody stepping on my goddamn toes. But Jose, this man, he was still outside. And not just outside, but he was one of them ones that like walked in like he was supposed to be there. Like the club owed him something. And the whole time, this man is just regular. He ain't nobody special. And I mean heavy on the ain't nobody special. He ain't on nobody list. He ain't got no section. He ain't got no connections. But you know that type. They loud for no reason. They got their chest out, they energy big, and they pockets be small. And I'm just gonna say it: the loudest nigga in the room be the brokest nigga in the room every single time. Now, Jose clocks Ti and VIP, and now in his head, this is his moment. Like he like, I'm about to slide it, I'm about to kick it, I'm about to be seen, like I'm about to get put on. He, basically acting like he part of something he was never invited to. Now, mind you, nowhere, and I promise you, I mean nowhere, does it say that this man knew Ti or anybody in that man's circle. Not a cousin, not a friend, not even we follow each other on MySpace, like nothing. But this man had confidence and it was through the roof. So look, he walk up to VIP like they about to just roll that rope back for him like, come on in, King, we've been waiting on you. Baby, no. They shut that shit down so fast like he tried to walk into first class with a Spirit Airlines ticket. Okay? Sir, you are in the wrong place. Okay? Right. And meanwhile, inside the section, like I said, Ti is turned. They throwing money. There's bottles everywhere. The music's loud. Like I said, everybody is lit. And Jose just standing there in front of everybody, and he just got publicly denied. And see, this is the part people don't talk about because it's not always a situation, but it's the embarrassment. That ego will do it for you every time. Because now it's not, I couldn't get in. It's, they played me. And once a nigga feel played in public, oh, baby, it's up. So now words are getting exchanged, tone changing, energy doing what it's doing, and it ain't in a good way. And that feeling when something ain't popped off yet, but it's right there. That's where they was at. And look, before anybody could calm it down, before anybody could be like, all right, bro, it ain't even that deep. Clearly, he ain't had good people around him. Somebody ended up cracking Jose upside the head with a bottle. So now wait, not only was this man's ego bruised, but he just got hit in the head with a whole bottle of liquor. Like, sir, you came to party and you left seeing stars. At this point, it's no calming him down because now it's not about getting into VIP. It ain't about Ti. It's not even about the section. This man, his pride is bruised. He in pain and payback is on his mind. And this right here is where the night should have ended. He should just went home, picked up his pride, just took that L and went home. But no, that is not what Jose did. Instead, it escalated. And at this point, the club is just freaking done, right? Because that's such a little situation. Like I said, it started as a little situation. Somehow it ain't little no more. It done turned into a full-on brawl. Like I'm talking about bodies moving, drinks is fine, people yelling, niggas getting knocked out, all type of shit popping off. Just not a good scene. And security, I'm sure they are earning every dollar that night. Like they dragging folks out, throwing folks down the stairs, pushing everybody out the exit. Like y'all niggas got to go right now. And this right here, this is exactly why I stopped going to clubs, because people don't know how to act. And I'm not about to sit here and lose my life trying to make it to the door over somebody else's problem. And said, meanwhile, TI security, they're in full mode because now this is a whole situation and they have to protect him, getting him and his team outside. So everybody's outside. Okay, cool. We outside. Now, Jose, this man, he's still heated and loud and real embarrassed. He outside with all that energy and he ain't got nowhere to put it. So his brother, Padron, is out there waiting. Now, we don't know if Padron was inside the club earlier or if he was outside, doing that whole little parking lot pimping thing, trying to talk to some chicks. And he another one, too old, goddamn old to be outside the club. Man was pushing 40 at this point. Sit your ass down. Either way, he here now. So Jose hops into the passenger seat of Padron's Jeep, and in the back, you got Mose Patrick Brown. He's a kid, literally, like maybe 15 or 16. And this part really didn't sit right with me because I'm like, hold on, it's almost 3 a.m. You got a teenager in the back seat with grown men coming off of a crazy violent situation. Padron's in his late 30s, Jose in his 30s, and why y'all got this kid just along for the ride? But anyway, T.I. and his crew, they get into their vans, they didn't close the door, and they about to pull off. So like we said, at this point, okay, cool. Everybody's made it out, everybody alive. All right, we just, chalk the night up as a loss and we gonna move on, try again tomorrow. Okay, so like I said, no, that's not what happened. Because Jose, that loud nigga energy, it don't just shut off. And he is in that passenger seat going off. He's still talking and yelling and replaying all this shit in his head because in his mind, he did not just get denied. He got embarrassed. Like, do you know who he is? And again, nobody knew who he was. And you add alcohol to that and adrenaline, and then the fact that this man's head's literally hurting, they might have knocked something loose. You never know because you got cracked in the head with that bottle. And on top of all of this, this man got a gun. So now he pointing his gun at T.I.'s vans like, you know what? I know that nigga in there talking about some, they embarrassed me. They done split my head open. And then he says, you know what? Tonight they gonna learn a lesson. Why can't the lesson just be go home and try again tomorrow? So that right there it's not anger. That's a decision being made. And once somebody decides that, everything after that is done on purpose. So Patrick, he drives up to the vans and like all this is going like real fast. So there's no time to think or calm down or again, he didn't have good people around him because somebody should have said like, look, bro, this ain't a good idea. Let's just go home, chalk it up. It's stupid. No, nobody said that to him. And Jose, he just starts shooting, gunfire popping off in the middle of the night. And if y'all know, T.I. ain't never been the type to act like he ain't from the street. So do what you will with said information. Man never heard that. At this time, you still like waiting in the streets. So this wasn't one-sided because now there's shots coming back. So we got bullets going both ways. Cars moving, people probably ducking, glasses shattering. And in the middle of all that, like we said, you got a 15, 16-year-old in the back seat. You got innocent drivers on the road, people coming out this club just trying to get home. And you got grown-ass men shooting over something that should just ended in a club. Now, a few bullets hit Padron's Jeep. So there's metal popping, glass shattering, chaos. And just as fast as it started, they pull off. Padron's driving. Jose still amped. He's still angry. Clearly ain't thinking straight. And then you got Mose caught in the back seat. And they disappear into the night. And just like that, what started as a club argument has now turned into something deadly. And it's not over yet because while all that shooting is going on, bullets started connecting. So Elgin Walker Jr., he had been shot in the arm and a bullet grazed his face. Ronald Halsley, he was shot in the chest. Janice Giuseppe, she was hit too. And then there was Phil. Falant Big Phil Johnson had been shot in the head. And I need y'all to feel this because this was all over a club argument. And the man who had been hit the worst wasn't even the one they were after. He wasn't the loud one. He wasn't the one arguing. And he wasn't the one trying to prove anything. He was just there. And now this man is fighting for his life. If you don't know who Falant Johnson was, let me make it real for you. His name was Falant Anthony Johnson, born January 28th, 1980 in Atlanta, Georgia, son to Alicia Brown Cook and Philip Johnson. But more than that, he was T.I.'s best friend, not that industry we met through music. No, they had been friends since preschool. Their mamas knew each other. They grew up together like they had been around each other their whole lives. So that at that point, that's not your friend, that's family. And Phil was also T.I.'s personal assistant. So he's always with him, moving with them. And he had a daughter, Janae. So now picture this, you in a car with your best friend right there and he's bleeding out bad and you see he's been shot and you know this is serious. So you're like, I'm not even about to wait. We ain't got time for no ambulance. They get him into another car and they are trying to beat it to the hospital because they ain't got time to wait for no ambulance to get there. And in that moment, T.I. said that he did something that he never forgot. He said he lied to his best friend. He said, quote, I told him I had him and that it was going to be all right. And he said, all right. But it wasn't all right because later that morning, Falant Bigfield Johnson died at the hospital. And just like that, he was gone over something that didn't have nothing to do with him. But it don't stop there because, now T.I. got to do something that would honestly break anybody. He has to pick up the phone and call Phil's parents and tell them that their son is dead. And then he got to call that man's daughter and tell her that her daddy not coming home. And all this started because somebody couldn't let it go. And after all that, the shooting, hospital, and Phil losing his life, the city is trying.
You tell yourself, no one wants your college-era band tees. But on Depop, people are searching for exactly what you've got. You once paid a small fortune for them at merch stands. Now, a teenager who calls them vintage will offer that same small fortune back. Sell them easily on Depop. Just snap a few photos and we'll take care of the rest. Who knew your questionable music taste would be a money-making machine? Your style can make you cash. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
I am your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences.
It's intoxicating. The writers just know how to trick you. There's always a twist in this show.
It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, now streaming, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Trying to figure out what the hell didn't happen. Because like I said, this wasn't no small incident. It was a whole shootout on the freeway. You got celebrity names involved in this. They said the highway was shut down for hours, police everywhere, cars had stopped. But the people who did it was already gone. They was in the wind by the time the police got there. So at this point, they don't have any arrests, no suspects. And of course, they had to interview T.I. He gives his statement. He tells them what he can. They've interviewed, everybody else at the hospital because Phil was the only one who lost his life, unfortunately. Everyone else was treated and was okay at some point. And T.I. couldn't even tell him who the shooter was. All he remembers is headlights coming up on the van right before the shot started. That's it. And what's wild is he couldn't even clearly say what the argument in the club started. Like, that's how fast everything went left. So at this point, you got a man dead, multiple people shot, a freeway shut down, and nobody is in custody. So just 5 days later, on May 8th, 2006, Falant Bigfield Johnson is laid to rest in Atlanta at Jackson Memorial Baptist Church. And they say about 1,000 people showed up, literally. They said Young Jock was there, Killer Mike, Chris Robinson, he was the director of ATL. Kevin Lyles was there, among so many others. They said Kenneth Sky sang at the service, and apparently she was a contestant on American Idol. I don't remember her, but that's what she was. And T.I., he eulogized his best friend, and he was one of the pallbearers. And just days after telling him that he was going to be okay, Phil was actually buried at the Lincoln Cemetery in Northwest Atlanta. And at the time that he was laid to rest, there had been no arrests. Whoever did this was still out there just running free while his family was putting him in the ground. Again, all because somebody couldn't let something go. And now time is going by, and T.I. and, Phil's family, they're grieving, and not just grieving, but they're grieving with no answers. They ain't got no suspects. They don't have any names, no clue who did this. And this goes on for almost 2 years. So 2 years of not knowing who killed your loved one, that alone probably would drive me crazy. So look, like we said, it's almost 2 years later, and out of nowhere, they finally get breaking the case. And when I tell y'all how they found out who did this, y'all gonna be like, man, ain't no way. Now, we really ain't talked too much about Jose's background because, let's be for real, it ain't giving much. And honestly, I couldn't care less about his milk dud head ass, but for real. But what we do know is he had a record. He had some drug possession, some trafficking, regular, I'm in the streets, not doing nothing productive type of resume. And, he had a brother, Padron. And this is where it gets real messy because they're not just brothers like, I call this man my brother. Like, no, like we friends. No, they were blood brothers. Same last name, same family. I don't know if they had the same mama, but they probably had the same daddy, or they could have had the same mama and not in different daddies. I don't know, but they had the same last name. So look, Patrick, he in the streets too. He had a couple charges too. Robbery, rape. So he outside. And eventually that shit catches up to him. Feds pick him up. So now he's facing a federal gun charge. And y'all already know when the feds come knocking, honey, they are not asking questions for fun. So now he's sitting there probably sweating like, oh shit, I'm about to get some real time this time around. Like, this ain't county, baby. Like I said, this is federal. Do y'all know the feds have like a 97% conviction rate? I ain't going up against the feds. That's wild. That's an insane conviction rate. That just basically means like if the feds coming for you, you might as well just wrap that shit on up. Go ahead and take a plea. Like, is this a wrap? So back to Padron. Instead of standing on whatever code he thought he had, this man was like, I'm going to just start talking. And like, he didn't just, get him a little bit of information. All he was just like, look, he just started straight up dry snitching on his own brother. Sir, I'm talking, he ain't hesitate. He ain't think twice. That man didn't even pray on it. He just was like, look, I got some information. Remember that shooting back in 2006 at that club, where T.I. homeboy got killed? And if y'all cut me a deal, I'm going to give y'all the shooter. Sir, that is your own brother. And the messed up part about it was Jose wasn't even on their radar. Like, so you mean to tell me you just offered that man up like he was a coupon for a deal over a gun charge? I mean, damn. Like, this ain't even about loyalty no more. This is like, I'm saving myself and I don't care who go down. And just like that, after almost 2 years of nothing, they have a name. So June 18th, 2008, after almost 2 years of nobody knowing anything, they finally pick up Jose. And they don't play with that man either. They just booked his ass, sent him straight to Hamilton County Jail with no bond. Like, that's like, don't look at the dough. You ain't going nowhere. And when they do his interview, this man had the audacity. He was like, yeah, I was there. I was at the club. And I tried to get in the VIP and got my head cracked open with a bottle. But when it comes to shooting, I ain't shoot nobody. I ain't kill nobody. Sir. So you mean to tell me you just so happened to be there, you got embarrassed, got hit in the head, and then what, you just sat there peacefully? We don't believe you. You need more people. Talking about he'll roll the dice and take it to trial like, y'all not about to pin this on me. Okay. So now let's talk about what they actually hit him with. They hit this man with 2 counts of murder, 7 counts of felonious assault. 7. Meaning multiple people got shot and injured, a firearm specification, which means a gun was used, so now everything hits harder. And then they hit him with 2 counts of having a weapon under disability. So I'm going to break that down real simple. That basically means you weren't even supposed to have a gun in the first place because you have a prior record. So not only are you accused of shooting people, you weren't even legally allowed to be holding a gun at all. Sir. And now Padron, he gets hit with the same charges. But we already know his snitching ass ain't about to go down for none of that. So, like I said, he had a plan. And he wasn't going down for none of that shit. So in exchange for testifying against his own brother, this man gets a deal. So his charges get reduced to manslaughter. You went from murder to manslaughter, okay. And he's going to get a lighter charge because he snitched on his brother. And it don't stop there, because when I tell y'all what this man got out of this deal, y'all are going to be so mad. When I tell you this man folded, he didn't just fold, he laid down. Like, he folded faster than a Dollar Tree card on Christmas card. Like, sir, please. So, okay, we're going to fast forward to the trial in 2008. And when I say this whole thing was a freaking mess, y'all know who the star witness was. It was Padron. And then T.I., of course, took the stand, and we do have to insert in there while he was up there testifying about this night, his ass had his own set of legal struggles because he had just been sentenced to federal time himself from, I don't know if y'all remember, but that 2007 situation before the BET Hip Hop Awards, he was caught trying to buy automatic weapons. So while he on the stand, he was literally getting ready to turn himself in March of 2009. So imagine that you're reliving your best friend getting killed while you about to go sit down and do time. And then we have the detectives who got up there, they breaking everything down. In the prosecution, they're showing pictures of the van after the shooting, the bullet holes and the damage. And like I said, it was just a freaking mess. In the defense, oh child, they tried it. They tried it. They had a quote, witness. Her name was Kim Sweden, and that was Jose's little girlfriend, whatever. And she got there like, oh my God, like he couldn't have even done it for real because I was with him when he left the club. Man, what are you talking about? Now, I don't know why you don't get up there and lie like that, because there is not one single person anywhere around Jose, Padron, Moses, Tia. Ain't nobody see you with that man in the club. Nobody ever even said she was there. We don't even know if this lady was there. So you just up there blind making up a story, telling the story, bitch, you lying. And they said the prosecution ate her ass up for over an hour, just tearing her story up piece by piece. And then remember Mose, like I said, the teenager, the one who had no business being in that car, he testified for prosecution too. And you can tell that poor baby was scared. He said they paid him $800 to keep quiet. $800 for his life. He said he was so scared he thought about committing suicide. And he had to have the police promise to relocate him because that man was too scared to come back even after testifying. And that's how serious this was. So the defense is still trying to hold on, like talk about some, look, y'all ain't got no DNA, y'all ain't got no fingerprints, y'all ain't got no footprints, y'all ain't got no physical evidence, trying to say Padron ain't credible, Mose or T.I. ain't credible. He's like, look, everybody up there lying but Jose. Mm-hmm. And the prosecution was like, okay, cool. You know what? We got something for that. Let's pull some receipts. So we're gonna go back to 1992. Jose had gotten into a bar fight. He leaves. He comes back with a gun and starts shooting into a crowd. He actually hits a pregnant woman and it caused her to go into labor 3 months early. Now, the judge did say that some of the charges got dropped because some people didn't testify, but the pregnant woman did testify, and he ended up serving 8 years in prison for that. So the prosecution is like, look, this ain't new. This is a pattern. This man got a quick temper. He makes bad decisions, and he has access to guns. And then they also bring up that Jeep, talking about when y'all ain't got no physical evidence. They got evidence. They checked Padron's Jeep, and they found out that there was bullet holes in that Jeep. And it just so happened to be the same bullet holes from the guns they were collected at the scene. Yeah. And this man got that Jeep painted a whole different color. So talk about evidence, y'all. We got evidence. And the jury got all of this. And when they went to deliberate, took them a little over 5 hours, and they came back with a guilty verdict on 5 counts of felonious assault, all the specifications. He beat 2 of the felonious assault charges, whoop-de-doo. But let's be for real, that don't even matter because the sentence, he got 66 years to life. Meaning, yeah, you can say parole all you want to, but for real, you're going to die in there. And, of course, he files an appeal because they always ready to do the time. But when it's time to sit down, they say, it's not fair. Appeal denied. So now Jose is sitting at Allen Correctional Facility. And y'all, he won't even be eligible for parole until December 7th, 2074. I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. That man will be 100 years old when he's eligible for parole. You ain't coming home at all. Just wrap it up. Just wrap it up. You ain't coming home. Now let's get back to Padron because this right here, this deal was just straight up disrespectful. So October 28th, 2009, he goes ahead and formally pleads guilty to manslaughter, tampering with evidence, and 5 counts of felonious assault. And he gets 10 years. But remember, he has that Fed charge. He got 17 years from the feds. So you would think, he's going to get 27 years. No. He gets 17 years. That 10 years is going to run concurrently to the 17 years. So basically, he got off light. So all he had to do was 17 years and he was done. And he was actually released March 30th of 2023. And at this point, that man about pushing 60. So I need you to go sit down somewhere. I hope you somewhere doing right because I will hope you still not out on the streets at 60. Ugh. Now, as for T.I., we all see what he been doing. He just popped back outside. He dropped a new single. He looking like 2007 T.I. again. He done cut off them nasty looking dreads. I ain't mad at it. But one thing that he always stood on was he was going to take care of Phil's family. Like I saw, it was an article where it said he bought Phil's daughter a car for her senior year back in 2017 because she was a straight A student. And about now, she's probably about 26. I'm about 26-ish now. And I really hope she's doing okay because that girl had to grow up without a father. literally over something that had nothing to do with him. And I'm not even gonna lie, this is a case I've been wanting to cover because I had always heard like T.I.'s friend got killed, but I had never heard of it. Like, I remember when Live in the Sky came out and then Dead and Gone and like all that, like, and he always dedicated stuff to Big Phil. Like, and I knew he got killed, but I just never knew all of this. And when you break it down, the whole freaking situation is insane. It was a club argument that turned into a shootout, that turned into a funeral, that turned into a brother snitching on his own goddamn brother, all because somebody couldn't let go. And those bullets weren't even meant for him. And this was your episode of One Bad Night. So, yeah. Let me know what y'all thought about this one. Let me know in the comments. You can let me know on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Melanin Mysteries Podcast. You can pop in the Facebook group, Love, Lies, and Alibis, Melanin Mysteries Podcast group. We can talk about it over there. You can send me an email. You can connect with me on melaninmysteries.com, all of that good stuff. And like I said, I will see y'all again on Monday for another new episode. And until then, just stay in the house. Don't be making no bad decisions.